As you guys can see today, here at the shop we have my Rabbit truck. I've been talking about this truck for a while, saying I'm going to do a video on it. So here it is. So here I'm going to roll some clips of a walk around of the truck, under the hood, inside, and all that. Drive of the year for the Rabbit truck. Here in PA we got salt on the roads, and I really don't want this thing to completely rot out. So unfortunately this will be the last trip of 2024 for the truck until next spring. But we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff over the winter and making it a lot better. So I'm excited for that, but it's still sad to be putting it away. So welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see from the clips, this is my 1.8 turbo swapped Rabbit pickup. This truck, there is a lot of things done to it. It means a lot to me. I have done a ton of work to this truck overall. I'm going to roll some clips here of what this truck looked like when I first got it, and we're going to start from there. This truck came from at the start of this project. I got it last year, September of 2023, and it is now December 2024. So there's been a lot of work done to this truck, and it's come a very long way. But to really see the complete transformation of everything that's happened to it, you have to see it in the state that it was when I first got it. So to start out this video, really gonna have to start in the state that this truck was when I got it. So as you guys saw from the pictures that I rolled in the last clip, this truck had a lot of things wrong with it. There was a lot of body panels that did not match or were missing in total. It had a lot of different things inside of it there was an ABA engine in it, which the ABA engine is actually in the corner here. So I still do have that motor, and I'll get into a little bit later as to why I didn't use that motor. I did do a lot of work to the motor, however, I did not end up using it. So there was a lot of work that I did there, but when it first started out, I got it from my dad. It was actually my birthday present, and no lie, I paid $48 for it. I will put a picture in here of the Facebook listing ad that he gave to me for my birthday. So I paid $48 for this Rabbit truck when I first got it. It obviously there was a lot wrong with it. There was still a lot there, and it was a good foundation. Now, my last truck was a Lofton Green truck that has been in the community for quite a while, and that truck, it needed a lot of work. I did a ton of work to it. I'll put in some pictures of it and what it looked like when I ended up moving on with it. It was a very cool truck, but it needed a really lot of work, and it was going to cost a lot of money. This truck already, if it taught me one lesson, it's that Mark 1s are not a cheap hobby at all, and you definitely could get a lot of money into something that you wouldn't have even expected. I have a lot of money in this truck, and that Lofton Green truck was going to take even more money. So I ended up not using that, but I'll show some pictures of it. But that truck was my first truck. After that, I got this truck from my dad for my birthday, as it was a good foundation project. Now, like I said, it had an ABA engine in it, 9/8 transmission. It was a swap that was like really, really half-baked, barely in there. Like, there were big holes cut in the cowl that, for no apparent reason, just to put the wiring through, and just a ton of stuff. Now, this is a shave bay truck, but there was a ton of stuff that was not right with it. So I ended up, when I first got it, obviously in a very poor state and condition. So I ended up pulling it into the shop, just cleaned everything out, got everything out of the bed, checked out what was in there, and then I ended up actually pulling the motor out. So initially in this project, I had full intentions of putting the ABA motor back in it and building it as a NA ABA truck. I had played around with the turbo idea, but that was going to be expensive and probably not as reliable as I was looking for. But so I had full intentions of doing the ABA, so I pulled the ABA apart all the way down to the block. I didn't pull the pistons, but I did do rod bearings. But I pulled the whole entire motor apart, painted everything, got all the rust off, and just painted every single part, was very meticulous with everything, put the motor back together, and right when I got to the point of almost finishing with the motor and having it done, I just decided that it was not going to be something that I was going to want to go through with. This truck, I wanted it to be fast, and honestly, the ABA just was not going to cut it for me as far as speed. I wanted something a little bit faster, and mainly I wanted something with a turbo. And so ABA, it just wasn't cutting it. At that point, I kind of toyed around with a bunch of different ideas. The 07 K25, the 16-valve carburetor or throttle bodies, because I just knew I didn't want to deal with CIS, but played around with a bunch of different ideas for that. And then ultimately, I landed on what is currently in the truck right now, which is a 1.8 turbo. I can highly recommend the 1.8 turbo. I love this motor, and we'll get into that later on. But per the story, I kept working on it. This truck was actually clipped in the front, so it had a front. Not only did it have the round lights put in it, but the round lights are put on here. This truck, from back at about the back, right where the front doors are, is all a completely different vehicle. So this whole front end was put on, which means that the rockers or the strut towers are immaculate in it. Under the hood, you're not going to find any rot. Like, it is in very, very good shape because the front was put on. However, the front was put on very, very terrible, to say the least. It was a bunch of strange contraptions holding it together underneath, all things that I was not comfortable with at all. So I spent a good couple of months repairing the rot on the front of this truck and repairing where it was mated together and making it actually proper. I did 3 out of the 4 floor pans on it. I did a ton of things with that, and all of that stuff took me a very, very long time. Again, I took my time with everything, seam sealing everything, undercoated the inside of it. The inside and the floor of the inside of the truck is undercoated because, honestly, I like it. I didn't want to put carpet in it. That's why it doesn't have carpet in it. So that's kind of where it got to when we did all of the rot work with it. And then I went on to doing a lot of other things. But basically at that point in time, the truck was turned into somewhat of a together-ish as far as the body. Like, the body was in good shape and I could actually start to
get on with the building of it. So at that point, I did some work to the suspension. Now the suspension will start off at the outmost point. The brakes, the front brakes are 10-1 Mark III brakes, so it has Mark III calipers, Scirocco 216 valve carriers, and all that stuff done in the front. In the back, it is stock Mark I, Mark II drum, so the brake works and everything like that. And I'm hoping at some point to convert that to disc, but I need to find a solution for having an e-brake cable because I don't want to have a truck with no e-brake. So that's going to be as far as the brakes. Now then we'll move on. Power steering, or no power steering, but the steering rack, I did new tie rods, new tie rod ends, new boots on the end of the steering rack. I did all that, painted all that stuff, painted control arms, new ball joints, and then as far as coilovers, I have these cheap max speed rods coilovers that honestly I don't really like. So I'm going to be upgrading that to something else. They pop a little bit and do weird stuff, and I'm not too thrilled with them overall. They were great. They work good. They were super cheap, so they got this thing sitting a little bit better than the way that I wanted it to. So they were worth it to me to put them on, but it's going to get upgraded to something else, something a little bit better. So that's what's going to be in store for that in the future. But as of right now, it still has those on. As far as the rear, I did axle flip on it. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a look to the back. It's pretty low. There's still a little bit of air in it right now because I was hauling some stuff. It has air shocks in the rear. I should also mention that so that I can haul a little bit more things. But all this stuff in the rear is also painted with, all this stuff underneath is painted with truck bed spray paint in a can. It's truck bed liner. The stuff works outstanding. All this stuff looks really good. I'll insert some pictures here and there of underneath the suspension and things like that, but there's all that stuff is painted like that, and it looks really good in my opinion. So I did all that stuff, and that's going to be pretty much it on the suspension side of things. That's what I've done. Now obviously, as you can see here, the wheels got BBS RAs 15-inch. I like the way these wheels look. I bought them at a swap meet. They're in pretty good shape overall. I didn't pay very much for them, so I'm happy with them. Might go to something else at some point, but as of right now, I'm happy with them. And then they have Toyo Extenza HP2 tires, 195, 45, 15 on them, and no spacers, no nothing. This is all bolted straight to factory rabbit suspension, and in my opinion, they look really good. All right, now we'll take a look at the interior here. I really like the way that this interior looks in this truck. The floor is undercoated. No holes in it or anything like that. But the dash, it is an early dash. This truck is an 82, and I know that may ruffle some people's feathers, but I like it. It has the early dash with early Scirocco 1 steering wheel and all the early dash stuff. I also have this custom gauge thing, which I'm going to fix because I thought I bought a sheet of aluminum from Amazon, but I actually got plastic aluminum, so I wasn't real happy about that. So that needs fixed. Also, as far as the seats, these seats are Recaro out of a Mitsubishi Evo Lancer or something or other. Fun fact on the seats, I actually traded putting wiring in Justin's Mark II hatch for these seats. So I mean, I'd say I got a pretty good deal on them. But so, like I said, I'll link his Instagram in here. But I really like the way that those seats look. Now, they are actually mounted in here. I made custom brackets. I'll insert pictures here from when I build them so that you guys can see what they look like. Now, I do have a crossbar running in this thing. For some reason or other, when the people put the front on, they put this piece of square tubing, whatever, in it. So it worked out great for me because I was able to mount my brackets to it. But these seats are on sliders and everything, and they work as they're supposed to. But I'm really, really happy with how they look. I really like the black and tan. If you haven't caught on, that's kind of my deal with the interior. I tried to keep it all black, so I really like the way that turned out. Now, as you can also see, the dash is not in that great of shape. I mean, we got kind of a crater here, and it's all wavy and cracked or whatever. So if anyone has a dash, let me know, because I'd be interested in one. I'd like a black early dash. Now, as far as the bar I have on the underside, this is actually something out of a Cabriolet, but I have an early rabbit knee bar, so that's going to be going in it here at some point. And then as far as door cards go, I've got smooth rabbit, early rabbit door cards, I guess. I don't really know where they came from, but I have them. And then I got the metal handles, and I also have deluxe, if you didn't know, the little ring is deluxe rabbit cranks, small mirrors, and same on the other side. But anything else as far as the interior, just have Mark II shift knob, stock rabbit boot, and then pedals stock, except for, if you guys can see here, there's a Mark IV pedal in there for the 1.8 turbo swap. Other thing with this truck that actually took a little bit of time to make it happen, I wanted something, and it's not the fact that I don't have any door seals, because that's a problem, but I wanted this thing to, the doors to shut right, and this thing, they shut perfect. Same exact way on the other side. Like I said, they don't seal right at all, but shut perfect. As far as the rest of the stuff on the exterior of the truck, I've got plastic Euro bumper on the front. Not a small bumper, unfortunately, but if anyone has any small bumpers for a reasonable price, let me know about them too, because I'd love to put some of those on this thing. Also got these working, and then we also have the duckbill on the front, which surprisingly, I've only ripped this off like 3 times in the time that I drove it, so I thought that's pretty good. Grill, no stripe, just black grill, stock lights, and then there's not too much else to note. The paint of the truck is pretty good. I had this door, this fender, the other side door, and the other side fender repainted, and I picked the color, so it's not on the person who painted them, for the fact that they don't match 100%, but they're pretty good. I really like them, so thanks to my buddy Adler for helping me out with those. He coordinated getting them painted, so I really appreciate that. But that was as far as the painting. The hood the paint is pretty bad. The underneath of it's black. And then the rest of the truck, I mean, overall, it looks pretty good. I think as far as the paint, I don't want something that's perfect. I really love the fact that this truck is not perfect, and I love driving my stuff. I beat the crap out of this truck. I'm not even going to lie. I use it all the time. I drive it super hard, and I like something that I don't have to worry about, but I also like something that works, and I feel like the condition of this truck overall is really good. It's not complete junk, but it's just got its dings and dents here and there that make it so that I'm not all that worried about it. As you can also see, the bed is not really in terrible shape, but it's not that great. It's got hole there, hole there, hole there, there. There's some, but overall, I mean, they're much worse. My green truck had no bed in it when I got it, so better than that. But so that's going to be getting repaired, as well as the underneath of the back, because there are some problems with where the spring shackles mount to the body. There's some rot, so I'm going to have to address that this winter. The tailgate isn't too bad. It is kind of bent, so you have to take the license plate off to open it. Kind of a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. I have another tailgate for it that needs painted, so that's going to get done at some point, but that'll be in the future. Also, all of the lights work in this truck, which sometimes in a Mark 1 that's a bit of a challenge, and in this one it was to get them all to work. So I ended up I have all functioning, everything, at least the last time I checked. Now that I say it, I'm sure that they won't work, but they did work all when I finished this project, so I was pretty happy with all that, except for the dash lights, which are not wired in. I'm just going to go over some of the other stuff that I didn't cover already. So as far as the wiring goes in it, it is stock 81 to 84 wiring that has been adapted to the different markers and stuff, but it is all stock ceramic fuse block and everything like that. So that's all how that is. There's also, like I said, it's got some rot problems yet that I need to fix, but overall it is really not bad, and for a rabbit truck it's really, really not bad, and I'm going to keep it that way by not driving it in the winter. Unfortunately, I really like driving it, but at the same time I'm going to have to put it away because I don't want it to get ruined. So also, like I said, interior, that's pretty much all custom. As far as the body, whenever the painting of it, and bumpers round, obviously, so it's kind of meant to look like a round headlight, proper with the early dash and the early lights. That's kind of how I look at it. I really like the early lights. I'm a fan of the round lights. I don't hate square lights, don't get me wrong, but I like the round lights as well. So overall, this truck, I really like it. It turned out really well. Now we got to go over one other thing, which I'm sure you guys already saw. I didn't open this yet. All right, so here it is, Powerhouse. This is 1.8 turbo, ton of custom stuff under here. I did a ton of work on this. Give you guys a good look here, and then I'll explain what all I've done as far as this stuff. But it's been a long process getting this motor working. So under the hood, like I said, AWP 180T. I call it an AWP, but I honestly don't really know what to call it. Got an AB head on there. Bottom end is some weird Beetle code. I don't even really know what it is, but it's a weird motor. This motor's been Frankenstein. I put this motor entirely together, and I will say there is going to be a whole video devoted to that I'm going to do sometime next year that is going to explain the 1.8 turbo swap into a Mark 1, pretty much what's involved in it, what I used to do mine, how I did a lot of things, and I'm going to go over that. So hopefully that can answer some questions. So I'm not going to go too in-depth with this in this video, because there is going to be a whole separate video with this truck that I'm going to explain how I did a lot of the swap questions that even I had a difficult time answering. So look out for that sometime in the future. But we're going to go over a little bit. So like I said, AB head, different bottom end, and then it's got a stage 2 tune on it, swap file that I have in it, K3 Sport Turbo, and then the transmission is an O2A that out of a Corrado that has an O2J tower in it. So for the shifting stuff, that O2J shift box inside of it has a TT shifter. There is no short shifter on it yet, but I do have one of those, and I'm going to be installing that sometime next year. So I'm excited for that. But I have that waiting. I have a ton of parts waiting for this thing that I've been accruing over the past time that I've had it, that I've just been waiting for a good time to put on. But so that's as far as the shifter. And then there's a ton of S&P and Tech 53 parts, you can see with my hat, that are included in this thing as far as clutch stuff, mounts, speedo cable, all sorts of different things. And like I said, there's going to be a whole video that I'm going to explain how all that stuff goes, so I'm not going to go too in-depth with that. But basically, this swap is very involved, and this sucker rips, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to include some clips here in this video that I went out and ripped on it a little bit, just to give you guys a little bit of POV of how this truck is and how it runs. But honestly, this thing is a blast to drive. I love it. And like I said, I beat the crap out of it, and so far, I've somehow managed to not really do too much damage to it. It is having a little bit of a smoking problem, but I'm blaming that on the valve seals as of right now, because I didn't replace them when I put it together. So there's a couple of different things. It could have to do with my catch can as well. So I'm not going to blame that on anything, but otherwise, I have put about 1,500 miles on this truck, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm not kidding to you guys when I tell you that I have had every single nut and bolt off of this truck on the whole body. I'll insert a picture here of it in its worst state, I guess you could call it. But I had it sitting on jack stands. This thing has been stripped down to nothing, and I have put all this stuff on it. There's a lot of stuff that I've done, and I didn't really post too much of it while I was building it, because mainly I learned a lot in this process, and I wasn't going to try and document everything. I have a lot of pictures of it, but I was just learning a lot, as far as mainly learning that rabbits are really expensive, and it cost a lot of money to build this truck. A lot more than I was initially planning. Just to give you guys an idea, I was planning on spending a max of $3,000 on this truck, all said and done, with the swap and everything. So if you've ever built a Mark 1, you know that that's probably, that's blown out of proportion. There is way more that has been spent on this truck than that. And there's way more work than I expected too. But either way, I'm really happy with the product that yielded out of it. But more to the point, as far as under the hood, this motor, I don't know how much power it makes. Probably around 225, 230 with the tune. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, it's pretty fast in this thing, and I've had a lot of fun with it overall. Alright, so basically, in conclusion with this video, this is my rabbit truck. This truck means a lot to me. I learned a lot of hard lessons in building this truck. I have had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun driving it. It taught me a lot of lessons about doing hard work and what your hard work can yield out to, because this truck, I have enjoyed it a lot, and I enjoy it a lot more because I build it myself. And I know that every single thing and every single trip, for instance, I decided the night before, if you guys know about, there's a show called Roots Classic in New Jersey. Now, I live in Pennsylvania. So I decided at 11 o'clock the night before this show that I was going to take this truck on the 300 some mile road trip to Wildwood, New Jersey. And it was probably a really terrible idea. But either way, I did it. I drove the truck there and I drove it home. And with like not that many issues. The only issue I had on this, actually on this side, the camber bolt messed up a little bit and the wheel went in a little bit. But so that threw the alignment off. But other than that, I drove that truck highway speeds, and this thing has done amazing. So that was a really fun trip. I've just had a lot of fun ripping around in this truck. I have ripped the exhaust off more times than I can count because I built the exhaust on it, and it's not that great. So that's the thing that's on the list for next year to fix. But this truck, I have had so much fun with it, and I really like it, but it has taught me a lot of valuable lessons, and a lot of it, you know, hard work pays off, and this truck is really shows my efforts of it. And I took it to its first Mark 1 Madness this year. I had it at a bunch of shows this year, and that was pretty cool. I won the Moses Award at Mark 1 Madness with this truck. I have done a lot of really fun things with this thing, and it's been really fun just taking out my own. I've been looking at Mark 1s for years, and it was really cool to finally have my own truck that I built myself and to go and take it out to those shows and go have fun with it. This summer I had a ton of fun with it, and overall it really means a lot to me, and I've really had a lot of fun with it. But to conclude this video out, as far as plans for the future of the truck, honestly, I don't really know. There's a lot of things that need refined. There's a lot of things that I'm not incredibly happy with that I'm going to throw some more money at and do a little bit more work to fixing some of the problems with it. There's a lot of stuff I'm really happy with, but there's also a lot of stuff that I'm not. So I'm going back and forth really on power-wise on this truck because it has a KO3 Sport Turbo right now. I don't know if I want to go KO4. I don't know what I want to do as far as power. I feel like it could use a little bit more. I don't know where I'm going to add that in. So I'm kind of caught in the middle with that. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. But so that's good. There's going to be some potential power upgrades. There's going to be some suspension upgrades for sure. There's going to be some stuff. And I'm hoping to film a couple of videos with this truck in the upcoming year to show you guys a little bit of the process of some of these projects that smaller projects I'm going to tackle on this truck and get it really to the point where I really want it to be. But as of right now, I am quite happy with it. So, but basically, that's going to be pretty much a wrap on the video on the Rabbit truck. I really wanted to make this video because I wanted to, number one, I wanted to show off the work that I did on this truck because I didn't really that much, and I had a lot of things to say about it, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm really happy and excited to be able to put this out to you guys, and hopefully you guys enjoy it and enjoy hearing all the stuff that I've done to it, me talk about it. But I really do care about this truck, and I've had a lot of fun with it, and so I'm really excited for the future with this truck, and I'm really excited about the times that I've already had with it. Like I said, I drove it 1,500 miles, which, like I said, doesn't seem like that much in the grand scheme of things, but 1,500 miles in a Mark 1, if you've driven a Mark 1, you know, the 1,500 miles, especially on a brand new build, is definitely, it's definitely something, and a lot of those miles were driven distances away, like the trip to Wildwood, so there have been a lot. And when I went out on the trip to Wildwood, I had less than 1,000 miles on the truck that I had put on it by that point, so that was definitely a very ambitious trip, and I'm very lucky that it made it back home, not on a rollback. So that was really cool. But overall, really happy with it. Really excited to be able to make this video. And huge thanks to everyone who's helped me with this truck along the way. I have had countless people who have reached through Car Club I'm in, DCI. A lot of them have helped me out a lot. So huge thanks to all of them. Huge thanks to my dad. He's the reason why I have this truck. He's the reason why I do all this stuff. So huge thanks to him. It wouldn't have happened without him and letting me work on my truck in his garage for quite a long time over last winter and spring. Thanks to a lot of my friends who have helped out here and there. I mean, there's been so many people who have been involved in helping out with the build of this truck, and I'm really grateful to be a part of this community. It's really a great community, and a lot of the help that I got with this truck, it really opened my eyes to this, and a lot of the questions that I've had, I know I bugged Matt at Eurocraft a lot about different problems that I was having as far as swap-wise and all sorts of different things, and people who have gotten me stuff that I've needed for this, and people who have given me parts to make this truck happen. So huge thanks to everyone who's helped out. There's too many people to name specifically in this, but there are all of you who have helped out with this truck. I really appreciate it. This truck means a lot to me, and it means a lot that all you guys have helped me out with this thing and making my first Mark 1 working, and it's really a lot of what I wanted. So thank everyone for all the help. I really appreciate it. This is going to be the last video I film of 2024. Also, thank all you guys for all the support on the YouTube and doing that. This was kind of something that I had thought around with for a long time and finally decided to do it. And I'm really excited and happy that I did. And so this video is going to be the last video. Did a bunch of videos this year, and next year there's going to be a lot more. So definitely stay tuned for all that. You're not going to want to miss it. But so there's going to be a ton of things coming. I have a lot of different projects that are going to be going on. This truck is going to be a little bit later into the winter. This truck is going to go to sleep for a couple of months and just sit because I have some other projects and some stuff I need to tend to and cars that need finished and projects that need finished so that I can get on with putting a little bit more money into this truck and things like that. But either way, thank you all for everything with the support on YouTube and everyone who's helped out with this truck. By the time you guys see this video, it will be the last video of the year. Be right before the end of the year. I am filming this on Christmas Eve. So, either way, that's going to be a wrap on this video. Thank you all for everything. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that maybe this will motivate some of you guys to get on your Mark 1s that have been sitting forever, or get a Mark 1 project and do it. This truck is a ton of fun. And if you have any questions about the truck, feel free to ask me about it. I can definitely answer them because I've done everything on it. So if you have a question, please let me know. But either way, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you all next year. Peace.